All right, welcome to this explainer covering video 3 of the Luxury Traffic Engine Masterclass. Today, we're going to take a very patient, highly architectural approach to system design. Now, if you're operating in the high-ticket, luxury, short-term rental space, managing villas, sprawling estates, or high-end penthouses, you already know that basic, commodity-level hosting simply does not work anymore. We've been looking closely at how elite operators transition into professional asset governance, and a massive part of that evolution actually happens right at your digital front door. So today, we are talking all about routing. We're going to look at the exact mechanisms you need to build in order to turn raw attention into booked, high-ticket audits.
Okay, let's dive into this structural blueprint we're going to build today to turn attention into booked audits. We'll start by defining the routing ecosystem, unpack why good content fails, lay out the ideal luxury pathway, build your link ecosystem, map the user journey, and finally look at how this preserves client mental energy.
So, Section 1, Defining the Routing Ecosystem, the architectural framework. We've already covered how to generate discovery and authority in previous segments. But here's the thing, attention is completely useless if it has nowhere to go. Routing is the intentional mechanism of turning disconnected, scattered digital content into a single, guided pathway. I really want you to think about this not as marketing, but as structural engineering. I mean, when you manage a seven-figure asset, you don't leave the guest's physical experience to chance, right? You engineer every single touchpoint to prevent things from falling into chaos. While routing is doing the exact same thing but for the digital experience. It's essentially the plumbing that ensures attention flows seamlessly toward your ultimate goal, rather than just leaking out into the void.
Moving on to Section 2, Why Good Content Fails, the Chaos of Choice.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it highlights one of the most painful mistakes luxury operators make. You spend hours crafting these perfect, cinematic videos that go completely viral, only to end up with a totally empty calendar. Why does that happen? It's the chaos of choice. Let's contrast broken routing against architectural routing. Broken routing is what we honestly see 90% of the time out there. A link tree stuffed with 10 different options. You've got a link to a blog, an old newsletter, a podcast, some random calendar. There's absolutely no obvious next step. Architectural routing, on the other hand, forces a decision. It gives the prospect one primary call to action, and at most one secondary backup option. It provides absolute, crystal clear direction.
To put that into perspective, just look at this massive drop-off. You might get 10,000 views on a fantastic piece of short-form content, but because your digital front door is just this chaotic menu of random options, you only get about 500 clicks. And because those clicks land on a page that doesn't immediately direct their intent, you end up with exactly 0 booked audits. It all comes down to the psychological principle of the paradox of choice. When you give a burned-out, high-net-worth property owner way too many options, you trigger decision paralysis. They get overwhelmed, they click away, and you lose the lead entirely. Which brings us to Section 3, the ideal luxury pathway, engineering the flow.
So, how exactly do we shift from being a chaotic host to a calm consultant providing a highly specific blueprint? Well, here is the literal funnel, step by step. Step 1 is your short-form content. This is your discovery mechanism on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts. Think of it as a quick hit of insight that identifies a specific pain point, like operator burnout or revenue leaks. Then, Step 2 is the long-form or masterclass page. When they click the link in your bio, they don't go to a menu. They go straight to a page that builds deep authority, explaining exactly how your asset governance system actually works. And finally, Step 3 is the free revenue audit page. This is the high-intent booking environment where they actually schedule a call to see how your framework applies to their specific property. It is a straight, unbending line.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, Building Your Link Ecosystem, the micro execution.
Understanding the macro funnel is great, but we really have to translate that into the actual physical links sitting on your profiles right now. To execute this properly, your architecture must be identical across every single platform. Whether a prospect finds you on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or your main website, your primary link is, without fail, book my free audit. Your secondary link, if you absolutely must have one, is watch the masterclass or explore strategy content. You literally have to clean up your YouTube descriptions, your social bios, and your website navigation to ensure there are 0 dead ends and no confusing detours anywhere in your digital footprint.
This brings us to a concept from the masterclass called the Rule of Two, and this is a strict constraint you absolutely must place on yourself. Your entire digital ecosystem needs to be boiled down to one main goal, booking that revenue audit, and one backup option for those who maybe just need a little more authority building, which is watching your longer content. That's the whole shebang, nothing else. No distractions whatsoever.
Keep this quote from the source material front of mind. Every piece of content points clearly to one clean landing page. Your metric for success is calls booked, not views. This is such a critical mindset shift for us. We are not playing a vanity metrics game here. Millions of views mean absolutely nothing if you're operating a high-ticket, luxury co-hosting business and your calendar is empty. Your routing mechanism has to be completely frictionless to capture that high-value intent.
Section 5. Mapping the user journey. Let's put this theory into practice.
Now, let's take all of this structural theory we just covered and map it onto a real-world scenario. You have to ask yourself, what does this frictionless journey actually look like in practice when a burned-out owner of a multi-million-dollar property encounters your brand online?
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact flow. At 0 seconds, your prospect is scrolling and views a sharp, well-hooked short-form clip identifying the exact reason their luxury rental is losing money. At 15 seconds, they tap the link in your bio and find a clean, singular option. At 2 minutes, they are on your Masterclass page, reading or watching how your elite asset governance solves their exact problem. And by the 10-minute mark, they have booked a free revenue audit right on your calendar. You have seamlessly guided them from a momentary spark of attention all the way to becoming a highly qualified high-ticket lead.
Section 6. Preserving client mental energy. The ultimate amenity.
Connecting this highly technical routing system to the psychology of high-net-worth individuals is absolutely crucial here. For this specific demographic, routing preserves mental energy. You have to understand that if your digital front door is chaotic, these affluent clients will immediately assume your property management is chaotic too. If they have to hunt around your website just to figure out how to contact you, they're going to assume that your guests will have to hunt around for the Wi-Fi password. It's really that simple. A clean architectural routing system makes your brand feel organized, highly intentional, and fundamentally safe. As the source material points out, the highest sign of status isn't what you own, but the time you don't spend managing it. Your job as a luxury operator is to provide what they call rational certainty. That provision of certainty, that completely frictionless experience, it doesn't start when they sign a contract, it starts the very second they click your profile link. You are demonstrating your operational excellence before they even book a call with you. So the crucial point is really coming together as we look at the masterclass recap and next steps.
Routing is not an afterthought, guys. It is the vital bridge between your marketing and your operations. Looking at our macro journey so far, we started in phase 1 with discovery, learning exactly how to capture attention in a very noisy market. Then we moved to phase 2, authority, building deep trust and positioning you as an elite asset governor rather than just a basic host. And today, we completed phase 3, routing, ensuring that the intent you generate is guided flawlessly into a structured booking environment. The whole architectural blueprint is fully coming together, which sets us up perfectly for the next step. In our next explainer, covering video 4, we'll tackle conversion. We're going to break down exactly how the audit offer itself should be structured, so that once the prospect actually books that call, you know precisely how to close the deal and bring them seamlessly into your portfolio.
So, here's what we need to do. Apply the rule of 2 today. Go clean up your links, eliminate the chaos of choice, and engineer your flow. If you want to see exactly how these systems apply directly to your business, review your routing and book your own free revenue audit right now at dialem.agency/free audit. But ask yourself this before we wrap up today. If a multimillionaire property owner clicked your bio link right now, would they see a chaotic host or a premier asset governor? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.